Welcome to today's video from JWS Repair Service. Today we're going to be making authentic Texas tacos from scratch. First we're going to start off with just regular yellow onion. I like the yellow onions. They're not quite as powerful as the white onions. We're going to wash it thoroughly, and then we're going to dice it up in a nice, like a little 1/4 inch dice, so it's not anything too big in there so that somebody bites into one giant piece of onion. But basically just cut the onion in half, and then you're going to want to cut about 1/4 inch or so slices in one direction, and you're going to want to rotate that onion 90 degrees and chop it down 1/4 inch the other way. So not anything special there, just dicing an onion, but you do need one entire onion for this recipe. So just do that, and we'll be back in a minute. We're going to show you how to cook the shells next. A lot of people are scared to do this, and the prepackaged shells are usually way too crunchy. They just fall apart. We're going to show you how to make those from scratch, just using just regular flat tortillas that you can get at the store. So we'll be doing that here in a moment. We're going to need a small frying pan. I use olive oil. I just like olive oil. The flavor of it is amazing. You want to make sure your oil is good and hot before you start cooking the shells. You'll see I'm temping it here, and we're about 320 degrees, 330, somewhere in that area is good. You just want to make sure the oil is good and hot before you start cooking. Each shell you put in is going to cool it off, so you're going to want it to cook fairly rapidly. You just take the flat tortilla shells, and using tongs, you're going to just place the shell in the oil here in a moment, once I figure out where the oil is. Okay, here we go. Now you want to place it in there on one side. You're going to fold it up. You don't want to fold it completely over like a piece of paper. You want to leave a little gap there so you can get all the goodies inside it. So you're going to want to just kind of move that a little bit to get the oil to slosh over, and it doesn't take very long. And then you just fold it the other way, cook that side, and you're going to want to cook it till you just see just a little bit of browning on the shell itself. If you get it too brown, it's just going to be as crunchy as you want. Now if you like it like that, if you want to bite into it and it cracks and falls apart and ends up making a mess everywhere, hey, go for it. But if you want it to be able to be kind of a halfway between a hard taco and a soft taco, you just want to get it just a little bit of color showing in that olive oil. And the other nice thing about olive oil is, I'm not sure why it does this, I'm not a chemist, but it seems to give the shells a little bit of a sweetness, which is really kind of unique. But like I said, I use olive oil. You can use whatever oil you prefer. Like I said, I choose olive oil because there's not a lot of processing goes into it. Basically, you squeeze an olive till the oil comes out, and they put it in a bottle, and you're good to go. A lot of the other oils, they use chemicals and solvents and this and that and the other, and a lot of processing. I just don't. My body doesn't tolerate that very well, so I just like to use the olive oil. Try to keep it as natural as possible. But it just takes just a couple of minutes, maybe total, to cook one of these. You just kind of, scoop it around in there, try to keep it moving. You don't want to cook one side too long. You'll notice I flip it pretty regular there to make sure that I'm getting even cooking. But that's just that's how you make the shells. It's not rocket science, that's for sure. Not very difficult, easy to do at home, and you're not stuck with stale tasting, super crunchy store-bought taco shells. Then just like I said, just put it on a plate with paper towels to help drain off some of the excess oil, and you'll see that you get some browning there. That's a good shell. We'll go ahead and do one more here. I'm actually going to do a whole lot of them, but this is just cook however many you need. Always cook the shells first because it tends to take a bit longer than the rest of the prep. So I try to cook those first so I can have those ready, and then I'll put those in my Breville on a keep warm setting so that they stay nice and warm and fresh. So we're just going to flip it Kind of swirl it around, keep it moving. And you'll see I have quite a bit of oil in this pan. You do kind of want to give it a little bit of a deep fry, so to speak, but just be careful because, you know, it is flammable and it is hot oil. But just flip it and keep it moving, and you'll see that there'll be just a little bit of browning on the shell itself, and that'll let you know that it's good. That, you know, you don't want it too crunchy, you don't want it just mushy either. So we do want to cook the shell thoroughly. But I'll show this here. You just drain it a little bit. Make sure that you've got just a little bit of color there. And that is a good cooked taco shell. So now we move on to the onions. We've got to cook those. Okay. Now you'll see that I'm going to put my pan up here with obviously the handle turned in. We want to make sure we practice safety too. A little bit of oil, and I'm putting oil in a cold pan. I know a lot of TV chefs out there will say, you know, always put cold oil in a hot pan. I don't want to do this here because I'm just cooking my onions. I don't want to scorch them. I'm not trying to roast the onions. I just want them cooked until they're starting to get a little color. So a little bit of oil there, and now we're going to put in our garlic. Now I use a minced garlic that is pre-cut. I probably could get fresh garlic and peel it and chop it myself, but boy, let's face it, that's a bummer. So I just use it out of a jar, keep it in the fridge, and it is just a great value minced garlic. It's a good product. I don't have any problems with it. I'm going to get a couple of teaspoons of that in there, and then we're going to add our diced onions. And there they are. We're just going to let those cook down for a little bit. We're not going to go through the whole cooking process. I'm going to think it probably takes about maybe 5 to 10 minutes, give or take, but I've got that on a high heat setting, so just kind of keep an eye on it, keep it moving. Like I said, you don't want to scorch them. You just want to cook them until they begin to turn clear. So we'll skip forward, and here are our onions. Starting to turn clear. They're not completely cooked, but we still have to cook the meat. Now, the packages of meat I've got here, this is meat that we grind ourselves. I'm going to have another video on just how to do that. You'll see how easy it is to do at home. You can once again, you can control the quality and the handling more than anything of the food that you're serving for yourself and your family. There's so many stories these days where you see this ground meat, especially ground meat, getting recalled due to bacterial contamination, metal fragments, just whatever you can think of. The way that I'm going to show you to be able to grind your own meat at home, you can control that, how it's handled very, very closely. So that just kind of helps you make better food, fresher food, the way you want it, without the additives and the hidden ingredients that they'll put in products these days that are processed that you probably really wouldn't want if you knew what it was. But anyway, take 2 pounds of ground meat. I package, when I grind my meat, I package it using a scale, obviously, into 1 pound packages, because that's kind of just the standard that you normally want to use for most recipes. So I take 2 pounds of our fresh ground meat, put that in. I want to mix it in with my mostly cooked onions and garlic. Pretty good. We want to get that mixed up. We want to get them cooking. We want that meat to cook thoroughly. We want it to cook evenly. So we're going to keep everything moving. I keep everything moving all the time. I really don't let things sit still while I'm cooking, and I keep an eye on it. This is not something that you can start and walk away and forget about. You kind of gotta be involved in the process if you want to end up with some good tacos in the end. So now we're going to start adding some spices, and unfortunately I don't really measure a lot of stuff, but this is hickory smoked salt. It's kind of a coarse ground salt, so I put it in a grinder. It's a wonderful product. Like I said, it is a hickory smoked salt, so it gives it a nice smoky flavor. I bought this on Amazon. I think it's from the San Francisco Salt Company, ? But it's really good. Like I said, you can add some hickory flavor to pretty much anything you cook. And then this is just black pepper, just peppercorns in a grinder. We're going to put a fair amount in there. Like I said, I don't really measure anything. I just kind of go by look. So bear with me if you need to back the video up to try to figure out how much I put in there. That's fine. Like I said, it's hard to measure out of a grinder how much is coming out. So I just kind of go by look to see what that looks like. And then our next spice we're going to add is going to be some cumin. This is just ground cumin. And we're going to put amount in there as soon as I can find it in the cabinet. I do have a few spices in there. Maybe I should have set that out before I started the video, but hey, this will be the closer thing to what's going to happen at your home. So there it is. I found it. We're going to put a fair amount of cumin in there, and then we'll put in our last spice, which is going to be cayenne pepper. I love cayenne pepper. It gives a really good heat without being too hot. It's very controllable. It doesn't take much. It goes a little bit, goes a long way with cayenne pepper, but I add it to just about everything just to give it, I'm not trying to make things spicy hot. I mean, obviously you can if you want, just add more, but I like things just to have a little bit of kick so it doesn't taste bland. It just brings life to everything. Cayenne pepper is amazing. It's not as potent as a lot of other spicy ingredients out there, so very tunable. You can make it as hot or as mild as you want, but I really like the cayenne and stuff like this, and it's not, you don't even see it in there, so it's not sticking out at you. So if you've got some people that don't like hot stuff, you can actually give them a little bit of spice and they don't even realize it. They just know it tastes good. Now our meat is just about done at this point. I'm going to say total cooking time probably about 15 minutes to make sure that everything is thoroughly cooked and that meat is broken up into the smallest particles possible. I control that, of course, by the size of the grind that I grind the meat, but it also helps to break it up while you're cooking it to make sure that you got those small particles in there, which just to me makes for a better taco than big hunks of meat in a taco. It just kind of makes it a nicer product when you finish it. And we're just mixing it up here. Whoops, knocked a little bit out there. Sorry. Probably will happen at your house too. Looks like that meat is ready to go, and there's the thumbs up. So we are ready to complete our tacos and put them together. Now we're going to show you the completed tacos. This is with all the fixings. You'll see here on the left, it's just basic tacos with just a little picante, cheese, and meat. On the right side, you've got my wife's with all of the vegetables and salad on it. Thanks for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope this helps you make tacos for you and your family at home, and you see how easy this is to be able to control what you're eating these days. It's not difficult to do, and you don't have to worry about how it was handled. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.